Raider Nation, what's going on? The 2019 draft for the Raiders is set in stone. Now, I'm not Moses, but I'm pretty close to it. And if you want to interact with me on Instagram and Twitter, it's at MitchellRenz365. So let's take a quick look here at the Raiders 2019 draft. They have 10 picks, and I personally think that the Raiders, out of every single NFL team, have the most entertaining draft, and it's not even close. Why? 3 picks in the first round, 4, 24, 27, plus 6 picks in the top 106. Oh, and also, Mike Mayock, first draft with the Raiders, new GM. Is there a more entertaining team right now in the NFL? That one's zero Chucky heads, tuck rule, tuck that. If you don't know what compensatory picks are, well, guess what? Here's a slide. And if you don't know, I'm sorry. Soak it in. You can pause it. And while you're pausing it, why don't you subscribe to youtube.com/Raiders Report and hit that little bell for notifications. You good? You got it? I'm moving on. Now, here are the total comp picks for every single one of the NFL teams. The Cardinals, the Pats, and the Redskins, and Bengals, they all have 4. The Rams, the Vikings, they have 3. Falcons, Eagles, 2. Ravens, Panthers, Cowboys, Colts, Chiefs, Giants, 49ers, all have 1. If you're wondering, Mitch, why aren't the Raiders on this list? Well, they don't have any comp picks. Goes off free agents. Again, from last year, not a big surprise that the Raiders have no comp picks. But I want to give a major shout out to all of our awesome subscribers. And I asked everybody on my last show, why do you deserve a shout out? Because I get so many DMs like, hey, I deserve a shout out. I deserve this. I deserve that. Well, guess what? I deserve a raise. No? All right. And I wanted to know why you guys want a shout-out. So, here's some of them. Crazy Ant. The only way I should get a shout-out on your show is if you give this comment 4 Chucky heads. The fact that you use 4 Chucky heads, believe it, baby. Absolutely love it. Feliciano, wow, mouthful of a last name. Mitchell Renz, I watch all the videos. I'm subscribed. 4 Chucky, extra space, heads, believe it, baby. Man, much appreciated. The only thing, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to give you your picture an F grade, and I'm going to hook you up with an A+1. Well, to be honest, I don't even know who this is. But again, I take your names, Google them. This what comes up. Is that you? Let me know on Twitter, IG at MitchellRenz365. Cavmaster, what's going on, bro? This might have been one of my favorite ones, and you definitely deserve a shout-out. You should put me on your show because I risked my math grade watching this show in class. A+ answer there, my man. A+ answer. Put that on the fridge. Take a screenshot. Put that on your fridge. Also, why does everybody deserve a shout out? We did it. We hit 10K subscribers, and I was so hyped when I came into work today. Saw the 10K. To be honest, I was going to dye my hair, but here's the thing. I'm going to go live every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, and I'm going to have my hair silver. Very, very silver, and I may even have a little bit of an extra thing there for everyone. So make sure you guys watch Raiders Report live Tuesday, 6 p.m. You guys can see what I do on the show for hitting 10K subscribers. Again, Raider Nation, I love you. Thank you. Now, let's get into those 2019 picks. The first pick we got, round 1, pick 4. And this is an interesting pick because there's rumors around it potentially trading up, trading down. And in my very first mock draft, I had the Raiders selecting Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle, out of Alabama. Now, who could potentially the Raiders take with pick 4? I hit my dude up at Tom Downey or at What Going Downey, and I wanted to know, Tom, what's your 2019 big board? And the first thing he sent me, I can't even show on screen, but Nick Bosa was number 1, Quinnen Williams was there, and then Josh Allen, Ed Oliver, and then T.J. Hawkinson. I was like, Tom, really? Are you already drunk? You're already getting prepared for your bachelor party? T.J. Hawkinson? You sold me on a little bit. It's a tight end. Just saying. It was interesting. Go follow Tom at What Going Downey. But what will the Raiders do with that 4 pick? There's a lot of discussion around it. What are they going to do? I want to know from everybody watching. YouTube, Facebook. I don't give a shit where you see this video. TU for trade up, S for stay, or TD for trade down. The next pick in the first round, round 1, pick 24. Now, they acquired this in the KHALIL MACK trade. And in my very first mock draft, I had the Raiders taking Marquise Hollywood Brown, wide receiver out of Oklahoma. But with recent news, I don't really expect them to take him that high. Here's the KHALIL MACK trade. And I'm sure for some of you, you may have this on your refrigerator. You may have this in all sorts of places in your house just to remind yourself that, sometimes shit happens. KHALIL MACK, Raiders received this. But I want to know from you. Now we have seen an entire season Who won the trade? I want you to type B for Bears or type R for Raiders. If you want to know who I think won the trade, hit me up on IG or Twitter at MitchellRenz365. Last pick in the first round, pick number 27, acquired in the Amari Cooper trade. And in my very first mock draft, I had the Raiders taking safety Nasir Adderley out of Delaware. But this is another trade where, guess what? You think you could argue when this went down, I said the Raiders were hands down winners. Amari played well. Like, I'm here in Dallas. I saw him live, and we have the #1 Cowboys show also here, Dallas Cowboys Report. Go follow that or subscribe to it on YouTube. But, like, he played well. But, again, this show isn't about me, and you guys are probably getting mad at me for saying that the trade or Amari played well, but I want to know. I want you to type D for Dallas or type O for Oakland. Who won the Amari Cooper trade? Let me know on Twitter, IG, who won the trade. D for Dallas or type O for Oakland. I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor for hooking me up with my own promo code, Raiders120. Use it. 120% deposit bonus. Chatsports.com/bet. I got people hit me up on IG or Twitter. Hey, Mitch, can you hook me up with a free jersey? I'll make you a deal. Sign up and deposit on chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code, Raiders120. I think you have a pretty good shot at getting something nice. All right, let's go now. Round 2, pick 35. Fourth pick in the 2019 draft. And last season in round 2, now this is later on, about pick 57, they took P.J. Hall, defensive tackle. And in my first mock draft, I took Devin Bush, linebacker out of Michigan, at pick 35. And for me, that was an absolute steal. Maybe the Raiders can go, again, get a linebacker. If we could get Devin Bush at pick 35, would absolutely love it. Round 3, pick 66. Originally, 2019 draft. Now, their round 3 picks last year, Brandon Parker, Arden Key. Arden Key, I think, was definitely a steal considering just in terms of talent. But in my first mock draft, I had the Raiders taking Darrell Henderson. So that's just something to consider. If you're just now tuning in, you don't really know what's going on. Here are my Raiders draft picks that I've talked about so far. Round 1, pick 4, 24, 27, 35, 66. Guys, I'm telling you, it's going to be a freaking awesome draft. Make sure you guys subscribe to youtube.com/chatsportstv, where Tom and I are going to be breaking down the entire NFL draft. Round 4, pick 106. Before the comp picks, this pick was 100, okay? So pick 100. In my very first mock draft, I had the Raiders taking Christian Miller, defensive end out of Alabama. And sure, Miller has got some injury concerns, but when he's healthy, I think this is a home run swing because when this dude is healthy, he is extremely talented. Now let's go to the Raiders' 7th pick of the 2019 draft. Round 5, 141, originally 131. And on my first mock, I took Jimmy Moreland, who, humble brag, now follows me on Instagram. I guess you could say we're pretty close. And Jimmy, I still need a +1 for Tom's wedding. You want to go? You want to hang out? Get some drinks? Just asking. Round 6, pick 197. 8th pick of the draft for the Raiders. Before the comp picks, we're looking at 184, and I took Hunter Renfrow, wide receiver for the Raiders. And if you're wondering how they got this one, well, also in that KHALIL MACK trade. And yes, it's up there. Also, pretty cool, Hunter Renfrow. His dad follows me on Twitter. He saw that I had Hunter going to the Raiders. So, Mr. Renfrow, what up? Round 7, pick 219. 9th pick. Before the compensatory picks, pick 196, and I had them taking Martez Ivy, a guard out of Florida. And you looked at him, he's a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, but he just didn't quite materialize, and he's very, very raw. Maybe Cable believes that he can fix him, but you guys know what I think about Cable. Round 7, pick 236, the last pick for the Raiders in this draft. Originally picked 213, and I had them taking Drew Tranquill, linebacker out of Notre Dame. Let's do a quick little recap now of the Raiders' 2019 picks. Now that your boy Mitch just kind of shoveled them there. What am I trying to go with? In stone. Absolutely butchered it. Round 1, pick 4, pick 24, pick 27. That makes up the first round. Then pick 35, pick 66, pick 106, 141, 197, and then 2 picks to finish out round 7 with 219 and 236. If you're wondering how they got some of these last picks, also, SHALOM LUANI, safety. It was a trade that they did in September 2018. Yeah, I'm sure a bunch of you guys knew that. All right, I got a fun little question. Let's play fill in the blank. Let's try to keep it a little bit clean so I can put the answers on the screen. If the Raiders don't draft blank, okay, I'm going to be like, tuck rule, tuck that. So what's the one player in the draft where you're like, the Raiders better freaking draft him, and if they don't, tuck rule, tuck that. I want you to comment below,
hit me up on IG or Twitter at MitchellRens365. Let's have some fun with this one. I had some fun this weekend. Thanks, Mizzen+Main, for hooking me up with these awesome dress shirts. You guys know it was my birthday weekend. I went out for 3 straight days, all 3 days in which I wore Mizzen+Main, and you know, kind of, I don't know if you guys know How I Met Your Mother, but the naked man 2 out of 3, it's kind of how my weekend went. Go check out Mizzen+Main for yourself. Comfortable.af, the best damn dress shirts on the planet. All right, let's look at now the draft outlook for the Raiders here on offense. It was rough, right? So, I mean, ranked 28th in the NFL, points per game, 23rd in yards per game. And their biggest needs on offense, running back, wide receiver, offensive tackle, and tight end. I think these are positions that the Raiders are really going to look at and developing, not only in free agency, but in the draft. And when I look at the Raiders depth chart, like Marshawn Lynch, is he coming back? I'm not sure. Doug Martin, Jalen Richard, all free agents. Chris Warren, reportedly 270 pounds, and DeAndre Washington, not, I think, an every down running back. So here are my top running backs in the 2019 draft. Now, I love Joshua and Josh Jacobs. David Montgomery, Darrell Henderson is somebody who I mocked to the Raiders at pick 66. Benny Snell jumped up. So Benny Snell used to be 5. I've watched more tape. I've listened to some of the supporters. I've moved Benny Snell up now to 4. Miles Anderson is there at number 5. Maybe the Raiders could take one of these running backs early in the draft. Just saying, if you don't like my top 5, let me know yours in the comments section. Now let's look at the wide receivers for the Raiders. I think this is their biggest offensive need. Now, I love Jordy. Marcel, I think, is a good young receiver, but you guys know how I feel about Seth Roberts. They need to be able to add another receiver because this is what I think for the Raiders. This is Derek Carr's prove-it year, and I'm going to keep saying it, and a good way to see if Derek Carr's got it is maybe to surround him with one of these wide receivers. Now, DK Metcalf, if he doesn't make it in the NFL, he could probably be the world's strongest man. Like, I'm just saying, DK, that's definitely an opportunity there. Now, N'Keal Harry, Marquise Brown, I don't know what to do with him. I love when I watch Marquise's tape, but now he's got that Liz Frank injury. It scares me a little bit. I've jumped up A.J. Brown, and now Kelvin Harmon there is at 5. Now, these are my top receivers. If you don't like my top 5, guess what? Cool part about the internet, you can let me know at MitchellRens365. Raiders, offensive line depth chart, okay? Now, you're seeing a lot more names on here because finally it was updated, right? Now, Donald Penn, he's over there at right tackle. Colt Miller at left tackle. I've already said that I think Donald Penn is either going to get cut or traded. And with that being said, the Raiders could look at some other offensive line players in the draft. One name that I hear a lot is Dalton Reisner out of Kansas State. And again, one thing you're going to get out of Kansas State offensive lineman, you know, he's at least going to be prepared. So with that being said, hey, I kind of am into it. All right, tight end depth chart. Now, at first you were probably like, why? Why is tight end a need? And if they do not re-sign Jared Cook, it becomes a major need. Cook led the team in receptions and yards in 2018, 68 and 896, okay? You get rid of your main go-to guy for your quarterback, who you're saying that you're believing in. That makes tight end a major need. Now, here are my top tight ends in the 2019 draft. TJ Hawkinson, Noah Fant. Out of tight end U in Iowa, Irv Smith, Jay Sternberger, and Isaac Nauta. And I love TJ Hawkinson, but when I start hearing the hype that he's on top 5 in Tom's big board, I've heard rumors now that he could even be a top 10 pick. I really don't want the Raiders to take a tight end that early, but I want to know from everybody watching. There's rumors around them taking a wide receiver, and there's rumors around them maybe even taking a tight end now. Will the Raiders draft an offensive player in the first round? I want you to type Y for yes or type N for no. And if you're going to type Y for yes, I want to hear it. Who is it going to be? I want you to throw it in the comments section below. Now let's look at the defense, right? Because the defense is where the Raiders, I think, drastically need to improve. When you're dead last in points per game, guess what? Hopefully, you're going to get better the next year. 26 in yards per game, not that great. Defensive end, linebacker, safety, cornerback. These are the positions that I think the Raiders really need to concentrate on in free agency and especially the draft. Now, here's the defensive line depth chart for the Raiders. Frosty Rucker is 35 years old and free agent. Don't know if he's coming back. There's a lot of stars on here, which indicates free agents. Arden Key, Hurst, they're definitely not going anywhere. Hankins, I'm interested to see what happens there. Now, maybe if they draft Quentin Williams, they don't bring back Hankins. Now, here are the top defensive ends in 2019 draft for me. I love Nick Bosa. You guys know that. Josh Allen, it's probably going to be 1 and 2, and it kind of sucks to say. Cleveland Ferrell, I've kind of seen some people hating on Cleveland. I think they're just kind of overthinking it a little bit. Montez Sweat, I really like what I saw out of him, and then Brian Burns. But these are my top defensive ends in the 2019 draft. The only players that I want the Raiders taking at number 4, Bosa and Allen, and I don't think either of them are going to slide down. Now let's look at the linebacker depth chart because this one's a little bit weaker. Markel Lee, he's okay. Kumbinda's got a great picture, but not a reliable middle linebacker in my opinion. And Whitehead, 4 straight years now with over 100 tackles, and he was the main tackle getter for the Raiders last year with 128. But again, very, very thin. Maybe the Raiders are going to add a linebacker. So here are my top linebackers in the 2019 draft, and love Devin White. Absolutely love Devin White. But I think the only way the Raiders are going to get him is if maybe they actually trade back, because I don't know if I want to take White at 4. Devin Bush, love him. Mack Wilson. But then there is a significant drop-off after Mack Wilson. If the Raiders can't get one of those top 3 linebackers, don't be surprised if they don't draft a linebacker at all. But again, Paul Guenther has actually said numerous times this offseason that he doesn't know if he wants to take a linebacker in the first round. Now let's look at some defensive backs here for the Raiders, or their depth chart. Garyon Conley, Nick Nelson, Rashawn Melvin, Carl Joseph, who really emerged down the end of the stretch, and then Marcus Gilchrist. Melvin Gilchrist, I expect them to be let go, which is going to open up some major needs there for the Raiders, again, in that secondary position. But here's a really interesting question. Will the Raiders make a trade in the first round? There's going to be rumors until the draft actually happens. There's going to be so many rumors. When you get 3 picks in the first round, and people with names like OBJ and AB are floating out there, it's going to be some interesting discussion. But will the Raiders make a trade in the first round? Should type 1 for yes or type 2 for no. Let's do a little recap now of the Raiders' biggest needs on offense. Now this is my list, okay? If you don't like my list, hit me up, give me yours. But I got wide receiver, offensive tackle, running back, and tight end. These are my top needs. And then on defense, it's defensive end, linebacker, safety, cornerback. If you're not already subscribed, do it. YouTube.com/Raiders Report. And make sure you guys check out my live show Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, because I got a little surprise for you for us hitting 10K. Raider Nation, I'm out. Much love.
Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this. I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.